This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. Magazine publisher and entrepreneur Judith Mancini is sharing captivating conversations with experts in their field about the latest trends in our ever-changing world to help you become healthy, wealthy, and wise. Judith Mancini today will spark your interest and inspire you to lead your best life ever. And now, here's Judith.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me, Judith Mancini, today. Well, we survived, but it was pretty nerve-wracking, and I'm sure a lot of you were stressed and didn't get a lot of sleep and didn't know what to think of the results, but it was a landslide. That's what they said, and I had my doubts. And I'm a big Trump fan, but I had my doubts there for a while. It was neck and neck until all of a sudden, President Trump pulled ahead. Whoa, but they still don't have all the votes in from Nevada and Arizona. Excuse me. That surprises me. That's another good reason to have this more consolidated, more organized nationally with all paper ballots and one-day voting instead of all this in and out. You know, it used to be if you wanted an absentee ballot, you had to apply for one and you had to put the reason on it that you were applying for one. For instance, I was traveling a lot for my business, for my magazine, and I couldn't be home on voting day. I had some very important meetings on the West Coast, on the East Coast. So I had to be there and I couldn't get back in time to the West Coast to Los Angeles to vote. So of course I was approved. It's somewhat like jury duty. If you really have a legitimate reason and they look at it and they can find that you really cannot serve, you're not lying, they will excuse you from jury duty. But I think it is your civic duty to go to jury duty and also to vote. And of course, there are people who can't vote in person. And that is allowable to have an absentee ballot, in my mind, if I was the registrar of voters and if I was the one making up the rules. But it's interesting with the early voting. A lot of people who didn't want their neighbors and their friends went out and voted early voting. I think because they had it in their head, they wouldn't run into friends and then they wouldn't have to have the discussion of who they were voting for. I thought it was absolutely horrible that the Harris team told women and men to lie to their partners about who they were voting for. For my goodness sake, why do you have to lie to your spouse about who you're voting for? What does that mean about the rest of your relationship, for goodness sakes? You must lie to them all the time. Horrible. What are they trying to prove? Trying to train people to lie and cheat? I don't know. Now, there is a lot of hate in this election and a lot of things said that were untruths, particularly on the Democrat side. Now, living in California, I have several friends. Quite frankly, I have a lot of friends that are Democrats. We Republicans don't have as many. However, we did sort of good in the election. In Los Angeles, they did get rid of that DA, Gascon, who is not doing anything but helping people who are committing crimes. So he's gone. And he was very gracious and conceded the election. So I thought that was a step in the right direction. That's showing how we can make amends, and try to work together. One thing that didn't surprise me are some of the women, especially on The View. I've only seen news clips of those because I never watched The View. The only time it was ever good was maybe the first year when Barbara Walters started it and went with a woman from each decade. And that was interesting. And they didn't pick on people till later on the next year for their opinions. So it is really a bunch of Democrat ladies who are just filled with hatred for anybody who is conservative, and particularly President Trump. So here's my question. Can you keep your friends that are Democrats? I intend to keep mine. I don't think it's actually the people that belong to the Democrat Party. I don't think they're all evil. I think the Democrat Party really lost their platform and their direction a few years ago. It started becoming filled with hate. And it goes way back. Everybody knows that President Biden was comfortable with the Ku Klux Klan. So then you had Wallace running on the Democrat ticket, got off of it. And there are people who were filled with hate, came back from the Civil War and before, and parts of the Democrat Party have never changed. I blame that on the leaders. I blame that they don't want to be inclusive, although they've always said they were inclusive. But I think they have really turned people to be haters. And I hate to see that coming. You know, you think of a really great president like, and some people don't believe this, I happen to believe this, being a Republican. I thought John Kennedy was a great president up until his assassination. Made a mistake with the Bay of Pigs, but a lot of things were wrong. We made a big mistake with the Vietnam War when the Republicans were in power. So you can hate on either side, but I try to be a kind person and I don't waste my time on hate. I do waste my time once in a while on disliking. But you're welcome to choose your friends. It's a little difficult with your family. Fortunately, my family all gets along, but that's because my children chose to become very liberal. I don't know how they register to vote. I would think they vote register independent because that's how they are. They're very independent. But you know what I did? I didn't tell them they had to become a conservative or a Republican. I told them they had to look at everything and decide for themselves what parties and whom they wanted to vote for. And I can guarantee you, my daughter's vote canceled out my vote for the presidency. I was told that when we went for a birthday visit with everybody. So I would never let that split my family up. I've already lost my son to death. So I'm not going to lose my daughter over some political position. And I think other people would be wise to think the same thing. Nothing should split up your family. Unless, of course, it's dangerous, but that's a whole nother conversation. So I was quite frankly appalled that Kamala didn't have the grace to stay with her supporters when she found out that Trump had actually had a landslide victory coming up. I was disappointed in her, not that I voted for her, I didn't, I voted for Trump. But I was also disappointed on how they threw Biden under the bus and threw him out of office. And therein lies the whole problem. She wasn't primaried. She didn't have one single vote. She left the first presidential debate stage for the Democrats long ago. She left it because she knew she couldn't answer questions. I don't know how she could have been a prosecutor. I've not looked up her record because, quite frankly, I'm not that interested in it. I just listen to what she spouts out of her mouth, and it's not much. I still don't know what her platforms are. And now she's quit. She was not gracious when she went to speak to her followers, and they were crying, and rightly so. Some of those young women put in a lot of time for her, and she was not very nice to them. She could have stayed. The Secret Service was there. She could have stayed. She could have shaken hands with people. She could have been more gracious, saying something about Biden, whom she actually kicked under the bus. She could have done a lot of things. She only conceded the election by one short sentence in this speaking to her supporters. As far as I know, she still hasn't spoken to President Trump. Now, Biden has invited President Trump to the White House, and because they're talking about this all the time, I think he's invited him to the White House sooner than the January meeting when he is sworn in as president. I could be wrong, but it seems like they're talking about two different things. So I'd like to get some clarity on that. But I will say that Biden did not have to concede the election, although he is president, but he had to acknowledge it, and he did. But he's also already started tearing apart things that Trump wants to do. He's already stopped the drilling for oil or looking for oil in some of the wildlife sanctuaries and national parks and things like that. Now, you have to know that I'm not against parks and green areas, but I'm also for people. And we have to do something in this country to get our energy back, our energy that runs everything in the country. We can't buy oil from other countries when we're sitting on top of it. And also, we're sitting on top of the biggest reserve of natural gas in the world. I do believe it is just foolish for us to sell it all and give it to other people. So there are going to be some big changes, and they're not all going to take 4 years to do. People are afraid that the plan that Trump has take 10 to 20 years. That's not true. Some things are long-term things, but many things can be instituted pretty fast. Plus, now he has a great cabinet, or he will have a great cabinet, and he has a great vice president. Yes, I will admit I was a little skeptical in the beginning because I hadn't heard him speak before. Well, he gave a couple speeches, and then all of a sudden, he is a dynamo. I credit him for helping Trump go across that line and win the election. Amazing team, amazing teamwork. So I'm looking forward to the coming days. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing. You know, of course, I've seen news clips of The View already disparaging Trump and his people. And I've also seen a news clip of Letitia James of New York already saying that she won't stop going after Trump and she will get him. That's a concise statement of what she made this morning. That's the kind of hate I'm talking about in the Democratic Party. She has no reason to be doing this. So one of the big questions will be when Trump meets with Biden in the White House, will he ask Trump to pardon his son, Hunter? Or will he do it himself before he leaves office? Who knows? There's some pretty dastardly things in there. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. All right. Well, I want to say a few words about my friends who live in California and live very close to where we lived before we moved to the Coachella Valley to a Cathedral City in the Palm Springs area last year. California has always had a lot of wildfires, but this one cropped up in Malibu and Camarillo, which is just beyond the overpass, so to speak, to get to Camarillo itself from Ventura County. So this fire started, it spread so fast, 14,000 acres or more. It's still going. The winds were at hurricane, a third-class hurricane blowing. It went into the night. It's still burning this morning. Over 100 houses have been lost. And we don't think anybody has been killed, but many have been injured or in the hospital. It moved very, very rapidly. So our thoughts and prayers are with them. And you can go on Facebook and type in, you're looking for Ventura County fire. It's called the Mountain Fire. And they are collecting items for these people that no longer have anything. They don't even have clothes to wear. Everything is gone, all their memories. Well, we know what that's like because we've had disasters all across the country this year. It's been a terrible, terrible year for disasters. Okay, now I want to divert from what I was going to tell you about, and I'll get to that a little bit later on. A friend of mine posted on his page today about the medical institution here in the United States and how it needs to be changed and be pared down and be a little more efficient. And I have to say, I agree. And it's one of my pet peeves, actually more than pet peeves. It just really irks me. Okay, so when we moved, we have Medicare and supplement, or I don't know what we have. I'm the one that gets it, but I don't understand it, okay? Nobody can understand it. So we've always had great coverage. First, we had corporate coverage for me and my husband, and I had it when I had my own company and all, where it was basically we chose what kind of insurance we wanted to have and the coverage we wanted to have. But then we retired and we had to change and get Medicare and the supplemental insurance. Well, or I guess we could have paid for our own, which is prohibitively expensive, but we didn't want to do that. So the first couple times I went through USAA because my husband is a veteran. I've been married to other veterans. I had my own insurance through them for many years. And when we got married, we just kept the USAA insurance, and that was great. For some reason, we canceled it. And I'm probably the guilty person who canceled it for some odd reason. Who knows? Maybe somebody told me something was better. I don't know. I'm kind of gullible about things like that, which I'm really disgusted about. So here we go. We moved to Coachella Valley, Palm Springs area, and we have to get all new doctors because we're in a different county now. Now this Coachella Valley, where all these beautiful desert towns are, is in Riverside County. Before we were in Ventura County, right over the line when we moved to the Calabasas Oak Park area. So when we moved from Beverly Hills, we had to get new insurance way back then because we moved from Los Angeles County to Ventura County, and now we're in Riverside County. Why do we move so much? We're vagabonds, I guess. We like to live in different areas. I think this will settle here because we're getting up there in age a little bit. But that doesn't stop us from doing things, but maybe it's time to settle down. Well, lo and behold, I find out that there's hardly any insurance coverage down here. It's especially hard to get. It goes for medical insurance, and it also goes now for housing and things like that because of all the wildfires everywhere. So, but we're talking about medical insurance now. That, because we moved to Riverside County, we had to get the new medical insurance, which we did. And we used a broker because I couldn't figure out why none of these people would cover any of our doctors in another county. And we had to have referrals from a primary care physician, which we've never had before. We had to have referrals. And my husband has some medical issues. He has some heart issues and some circulation issues. So he needs to be seen by specialists. And you need to have a baseline. So, of course, we had medical records sent to our primary care physician here. I don't know what he did with them because he now, I asked to be covered with our insurance by people that worked at Eisenhower Medical Center. There's only 2 hospitals down here. Now, there's another one down here, Desert something hospital. If you're covered with Eisenhower Medical Center, for some reason they automatically cover you also at Desert. But if you're covered at Desert, you're not automatically covered at Eisenhower, and that has the best cardiac department. So that's my concern. Desert has the best NICU, that's for little babies in intensive care. It's also a trauma 1 emergency there, trauma 1, and Eisenhower isn't. So you have to be very careful down here. And there are only a couple of insurance companies that will even insure you. So here we go. Now we go to the primary care man who was very interested in sending my husband to specialists, a cardiac, the vein doctor, I don't know, the circulation guy, the lung guy, a whole bunch of doctors, okay? Like 6 different doctors. Every single time we went to one, we were handed 10 to 12 pieces of paper to fill out. Now, this is what my friend posted about on his page today. Why the heck, if we fill it out for the primary care physician, do we need to fill it out with every other doctor? Why can't they share their files? And why do we have to sign them? Why do we have to sign every paper? What if we don't want to fill them out? What if we don't want them to send them everywhere? Well, guess what? You can check the box that says don't send them to anybody, and you cannot sign them if you prefer not to. But that doesn't mean you're going to get your insurance covered. It doesn't mean that you're going to even be seen by the doctors. It's crazy. Why can't the cardiologist share his files with the vascular surgeon and vice versa? We're not asking that the cardiologist operate on his veins or vice versa. And if you have an aortic problem, you need to go to an aortic specialist. Well, it's craziness. It's just craziness. And the other problem is we have a season, like Florida has a season. Now is the season down here. So we have a lot of Canadians that come down here. I don't know what they do for insurance. They have, in Canada, they have national insurance. So anybody can go to the doctor, but you wait 6 months to a year to get an appointment, even if you have to have an operation. So a lot of people keep their doctors down here, and they have homes down here. They have condominiums, apartments, single resident homes. So it's extremely difficult to get appointments. Now, I have a little thing on my nose here. I've never had any kind of cancer, and I don't know why I'm getting it here because that's not the part that faces the car window. This is. And I've always worn sunblock. My daughter, unfortunately, has had a lot of skin cancer and severe. Um, Her father and her uncle and her grandfather all had it, and two of them passed away from it. And her father had many surgeries when he recently passed away, but from something else. So she's had a lot of sadness in her life, and she's had a lot of cutting on her face, as well as other parts of her body that have been exposed. But she's been free of any new cancer spots for a year now. But for me to go and get this done, just to look at it and see if it's cancerous, I had to go to two other doctors. What the heck? Why can't I just get the name of the doctor and go myself, make an appointment? Because the way it works now, I have to send a message from the portal to my primary care physician, PCP. Don't get them mixed up with another doctor. And heaven forbid if you want anything holistic or alternative or anything else, because I don't believe in them. So I think it's all mixed up. What do they do with that information? You know, I've been hacked twice on one of my credit cards, and once at the bank. I thought I was hacked again on the bank, but it wasn't. It was the credit card. Everybody has my credit card number because of all these pieces of paper flying around. Plus, you have to copay with some of the surgeons, the doctors, the physicians that are more skilled, like a cardiologist. But some of their copays are $25, $35. Big deal, right? And some of them are $5. Why even have that as an inconvenience? I have to tell you, I run around now with no cash, which is a really stupid thing to do. But we were starting to get personal robberies in our really nice neighborhood, even at the grocery store. They'd come up and cut women's handbags and steal them all. So I just decided to keep one credit card right here where nobody saw it, in my bra. But obviously, I need to keep some money with me now, because every time I go to get my blood taken, which for some reason this primary care guy continues to make me take blood tests all the time. And I talked to him and I said, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Don't give me another thyroid prescription. I like the one I have. Well, actually, I have it with my doctor up in Oak Park or Calabasas. So it's not covered by insurance. I don't care. I love my doctor. So our medical system is all screwed up. My primary care physician now asks you to list all of your prescriptions and supplements, whatever you take. Okay, well, my husband took a blood thinner, started taking it about 6 months before we decided to move down to the desert. And he needed it because his circulation was not working right. Because I'll tell you why. He's a smoker, a heavy smoker, a pack a day, and he drinks alcohol. Well, he's not an alcoholic, but he drinks alcohol. Okay, he only drinks wine now. But he's 79. We cannot metabolize what we did when we were younger, and I'd have a bottle of champagne by myself. Oh my goodness. So with this, all of a sudden, my husband, who took supplements, I gave him supplements. He's Italian. He's had a Mediterranean diet all of his life. He is extremely low cholesterol, well below the 200 marker. And I guess I know the difference between LDL and HDL. Don't forget, I owned a health magazine, so I know these things. I gave him red yeast rice, which is a statin of sorts, and CoQ10 because it depletes it. I also feed him fruits and vegetables. We eat a lot of fish. We do eat red meat. We just like to be healthy. The one thing we lack is exercise, okay? So my primary care physician says to me, I'm putting him on B1. And I can't remember all the B vitamins, what their names are. Like B1 is folic acid. I can't remember that for everything. There's lots of B vitamins. I said, why are you giving him B1? And he says, because he needs it. That's no explanation. So I come home, I look up B1. Now, this was a written prescription for this. I look and see it's folic acid. Well, folic acid became quite famous when it was found that taking folic acid when you're pregnant helps prevent you from getting spina bifida, the baby from getting spina bifida. I'd never heard it used for anything else really, except just to keep all your vitamins up if you can't absorb them by your body from natural sources. And lo and behold, they have now discovered that it helps with the thinning of the walls of the veins in the arteries. So, okay. However, I called the pharmacy to ask, it's like over $100, and it's not covered by insurance, our insurance that we have now. So I just look up all the vitamins in the different places you can buy vitamins. And my go-to now is Amazon. There's some people that I know on there that I've known for years and years, and they still own their own companies, and they produce vitamins and minerals for the retail market. So I trust them because I've known them for years. Or you could go to a GNC, a health store like that. Or you could go to the company and do it on the internet if you don't want to go shopping. The B12 that I bought was less than $30. The prescription was going to be well over 100, and it was the same micrograms. You don't think that the medical conglomeration is ripping you off? Of course it is. Now, I don't begrudge doctors making money, but there have been many stories from whistleblowers about how they get kickbacks. How about Ozempic? Do we need Ozempic in our lives for weight loss? Do you want to inject yourself all the time for weight loss with Ozempic? Come on, people. There has never been a time in the United States when we need somebody more like Robert J. Kennedy. That's who we need. And he is going to be on Trump's cabinet or as an advisor. I don't know if they'll make a new secretaryship or if they will put him under Health and Human Resources or whatever. This is so good because he's also going after all the vaccines that are unnecessary for children now. Now, I'm not telling you not to vaccinate your children, so don't go getting in an uproar. My problem with how they do it for babies and how they do it in the Army or any branch of the service is the gun that they loaded up with all the vaccines, 8 vaccines at a time or whatever, and shoot it into their little babies' arms. And the same thing in the Army. Now, there are a lot of guys who were in the Army and Marines or what have you that actually got ill from the COVID vaccine that was shot into them too. So this is what I want to see happening in the United States. I want more people to become involved in the health industry that are alternative, holistic, naturopath, whatever, people who study our food, our generic drugs. The only thing Mark Cuban has ever done is lower the drug cost, and that was really a great, generous thing that he did. So we're happy he did that for people. My primary care physician, when I listed what I take I take lots of supplements. I've cut back on some of them because I'm taking balance of nature, and this, I'm not getting paid to say this, but balance of nature, once you get on the routine of it, it did give me more energy, more vibrant feelings. Just everything was better for me. My gut health was better. That's basically fruits and vegetables, like they say on television. Believe me, I tried it for, well, I did the subscription after I tried it for a couple months and then, of course, a year. And I'm still taking it. I don't take what they say to take on the bottles. I take 2 instead of 3 of each one every day. But I eat a healthy diet. We eat oranges, pears, apples, strawberries, blueberries. You know, we eat the regular things. Dr. Gundry is coming out and telling you you shouldn't eat special things that you like tomatoes, lectins in it, the seeds, the skin. Gee, they eat so many tomatoes in Italy, and they're so healthy. You don't see the women after 40, after their babies running around, far too heavy for what they should be weighing. They're not pleasantly plump, and they still have a cannoli for dessert, and they drink a glass of red wine. I'm hoping that Kennedy will put some kind of plan in action where we can clean things up, but not just for you and me, for the schools, where at one time they were calling ketchup a vegetable. Where do people get these ridiculous ideas? So my personal primary care physician told me, well, what do you have vitamin C written down here for? I said, because I don't get sick. I don't get colds. I don't get flu. I don't get anything. And I take 1,000 microgram of vitamin C a day. And he says, well, that's just ridiculous. I want you to stop taking that. I want you to eat an orange a day. Does an orange, whether it's a navel orange this size or a Valencia orange, which usually we use for juice, is this size a little tiny one? Of course it doesn't have 1,000 micrograms. Okay, enough of that. So we need to get rid of the paperwork that's floating around. And I sincerely believe that I was hacked on my credit card because I used it at a couple of these doctors we're supposed to go see. Even for my husband, I take care of all the bills and all of that kind of stuff, the paperwork and everything. So I just used my own credit cards, and lo and behold, I got hacked. Well, to me, I'm with my friend. Let's see if we can't get this fixed with our new Make America Healthy Again. Now, we are running out of time, and I've decided that I'm going to tell you one quick political thing. before we go. And then one thing about your hands as we're growing older. And then I should finish up without having to stop in the middle of something else. So I'm talking about hate from some of these people. And the next thing I see is Letitia James. Did I already say this? I don't know. Did I already say this one? She was on the news today and press conference, and she said she's not giving up on Trump. She's going to go after him and get him no matter what. Well, ridiculous. I don't think she will. But Trump has a sentencing time coming up within the next few days, so we need to see what happens. And I also want to tell you the California Globe did a poll on who were the worst governors. And one of them, the two of them are pretty famous right now. One of them that was listed as the very worst governor in the United States was Kamala Harris's running mate, Tim Walz. Can you believe that? He got the #1 spot, or the last one, however, looking at the polls, as the very worst governor. Why would you choose somebody like that? And the next one was Newsom. Why do you keep electing him in California? He's totally ruined the state. And on top of that is Kathy Hochul, New York. So you know what these people have done. Vote them out of office when they're up for re-election. Okay, you know, when you're this age, you start getting aches and pains, and you can get aches and pains from using your computer too much, and not using a mouse, using your thumbs, typing, in your knees from playing too much tennis, in your arms and legs from too much swimming or surfing. You can get aches and pains anywhere. In this, it said you should give your hands a treat. You know, men often make fun of women because they put their hand cream on and they massage their hands. But guess what? That really helps with your arthritis or your pains in your joints and hands. So that's the first thing you should do. Also, when you're growing older, it's quite common to lose the strength in your hands. Like when I get this little bit of ache in my thumb because I use it on my computer, which I shouldn't, I sometimes can't open a jar or something, so I have to hand it to my husband. You lose some strength in your grip. Tremors. A lot of people are trembling now, and you don't know why. Well, there's all kinds of reasons, and if it's just cropping up on you, you should see your physician. You should tell him all your symptoms about that, because it can just be you're a little weaker, or it can be signs of an autoimmune. Hello, everybody. I'm back. Everyone. I don't know. Hello, Juan. I'm in trouble here, Juan. I don't know. Something happened and I just went black. Thank you. Thank you, Juan. Okay, so go get your tremors checked out, because it could be an autoimmune disease, and it could be anything from lupus to Epstein-Barr syndrome, chronic rheumatoid arthritis. It could be anything. So go get those tremors checked. And then there is the bruising that comes It comes on your hands, it comes on your arms. It can be the bruising, it could be something that your skin is getting thinner, or it could also be signs of something else going on in your body. As we're older, we get dark spots on our faces. Now, I've used suntan lotion or anything on my face since I was a teenager, not as a child, though. Back then, we didn't do that. But I still have gotten brown spots on my face. I've been lucky I haven't gotten the skin cancer, but I do have brown spots. Oh, I hope you don't dislike me for that. So get your skin checked. If you're in the sun a lot and you see anything suspicious, like I have on my nose, which you can't even see, you get yourself to a dermatologist, not just your doctor, a dermatologist, because they will use special lenses to look deeper into this to see if they need to actually take a biopsy. So that's what you want to do. All right, as growing older gets bolder, gets more wondrous, make new friends, stay active, take long walks. You don't have to run, just take long walks, not strolling walks. Try to walk a little faster than that. And stretch. You can't sit in your chair all day long and talk to your friends on the phone. Don't stop talking to your friends, but don't do it all day long. Get up. Don't watch television all day long. I've been watching the news through the last part of the election, and I can certainly tell the difference when I get up out of my chair because I've been sitting too long. So I'm back to my regular routine of walking, trying to eat healthy and stay healthy. And that's it, folks, for today. I want to tell you there is a wonderful brand new product on the market that we're going to talk about. I'm not going to tell you what the name of it is yet until I have some more information on it. And we're going to have some guests on. I want to follow up with some of the people that have been on the show before that have wonderful businesses in the coaching area, in the finance business. I have somebody coming on, I hope, who just has taken so many educational courses and gotten experience in the crypto world. So we're going to have some interesting guests on and see what else we're going to be doing. And of course, I'm always going to be helping you to stay healthy, wealthy, and wise. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Have a great weekend. My thoughts and prayers go out to our friends in the fires. And I understand a hurricane is headed for the Keys in Florida. Some of the maps say it's hitting Mexico. I don't know. I can't even keep up with the disasters that are going on right now. So let's pray for everybody. Let's pray to keep President Trump safe because you know they've already tried to kill him twice. What is that saying? Whatever hurts you makes you stronger, something like that. So let's say our prayers for our nation, the greatest country in the world. Remember, cherish yesterday, dream tomorrow, and live today.